really sure how to say what I'm going to say. There's a couple things that happened to me this week, and they are really, really crazy. And I know it's going to be difficult, probably for anyone, to believe what I'm going to say. My first thought was, okay, I really need to go make a video about this. I can't believe what I'm seeing. And then thought about it for a day and a half. I don't know, just maybe lost my guts, because I know it would be so incredible what I saw. I would want to know, but I already know I would have a lot of difficulty believing this if I heard somebody say it anyway. But those that are watching my videos, already know that there's a lot of crazy things happening right now, and we are in some pretty strange times. And so, yes, I know it's going to sound pretty crazy, but it is what it is, and it's the honest to God truth. Many of you know from the last video that I drove to Tennessee. The hurricane, with Hurricane Irma, my family needed to evacuate. They didn't have anywhere to go, so they actually came to stay where I was in Tennessee. And when it was time for them to all drive home, caravanning their cars, my youngest daughter, who had trouble driving up that long, I decided I was going to help her drive her car back down and then fly back to Tennessee. So when I flew back to Tennessee, it was a pretty coincidental, all things lining up opportunity for me, as far as the possibility of getting to see the things in the sky a little clearer, getting above the clouds, all that. And any time that I had flown anywhere in the last 2 years, I would always hope, okay, well, if it's sometime around sunset, maybe I'll get a flight that's going to be flying in an orientation where I can see the sun actually setting from up above. Hopefully I'll be flying in a direction that if I'm seated on that side of the plane, I can see it. Well, the flight back from Florida to Tennessee was flying, hour and 20-minute flight, where I was going to be seeing a sunset, flying in the direction I'd be able to see it. Things got a little messed up on the plane. I went from an aisle seat to a window seat, and I saw some really unbelievable things, from the sense that, I have seen lots of other people's videos where they're showing pictures and talking about things the same that I have seen and witnessed for myself. But there was a couple videos where there was, like, say, an independent pilot flying his Cessna or whatever up in the clouds. Oh, this traffic sucks. I'm in Cincinnati. It's another long story. The videos of that pilot, I don't remember what the title of that is, but he's essentially trying to show the sun simulator, or whatever it is, the sun setting or rising in the clouds, not on the horizon line, but why is the sun rising out of the ground, or this, lowest wispy cloud level, instead of on the horizon. I've lived in Florida for the last, I don't even know, 20, 25 years. And I've seen a lot of sunsets, and the sun definitely always sets on the horizon line. And the videos that I saw about the people talking about the sun being a hologram, or, setting in the clouds instead of off on the horizon line, they look very convincing. The people sound very credible, very convincing, and believable. The only problem is you don't know them firsthand directly, so there's always that doubt in the back of your mind. Maybe they photoshopped it, or edited the video. You don't really know them. Well, when I was on the plane, I was thinking to myself, okay, good, in a good position, I'll get to see a sunset. And I was anxious to get above the clouds to see what it was going to look like above the clouds. And when we got above the cloud line, all that there was up there was the super, super, ultra white, hot laser sunlight, the artificial sunlight. You know, the heat was coming in through the window of the airplane, so hot, and it was just nothing but pure, bright white. No other clouds around up there. Didn't see anything funky going on. So then I thought, okay, all I'm going to see up here is the sun simulator. Then at least I'll get a chance when we start dipping back below this horizon line that's just above the horizon, that always seems to be lined with a string of really dark, opaque gray clouds. And you can almost draw an imaginary line from this long gray cloud to the next one next to it. So then I thought, okay, at least I'll get to see the sunset and see how they're pulling off this transition in the sunrises and the sunsets, that they've got all the chemtrails and the hazy stuff up, so you can't really see. So I was hoping to get a good look. So flying in a straight line, sun is going down, it's starting to get around the time of sunset, and the sun was just about, or I should say the sun simulator, it was just getting to that line on the horizon, and then as soon as it dipped below that line, it was instantly deep orange color, and the heat stopped just like that, and I saw the pulsing again that I told you I saw for several months, for short periods of time in Florida last year. So then this pulsing, and then to look at the whole face of the sun, it looked like, how when there's a little bit of soap film on top of something or a bubble and it's kind of sliding around there looking all wet. Well, that's what the whole sun looked like when it was the deep orange under that transition line. So to me, that looked exactly 100% like a hologram. It definitely was not the sun. So I'm looking at that. I'm like, okay, that's how they do that. So there must be some imaginary divide across the low sky all the way, where above it it's the simulator and below it it's a hologram, and they must have it entirely blocked out on the lower side for whatever they're hiding or whatever. So as I was watching this hologram, it was getting ready to completely set, down on the horizon. But then I noticed it was setting all right, this hologram, but it was hundreds of miles in front of the horizon line. So in other words, this holographic light was setting in, not in the ground before the horizon line, but like the lowest wispy, thin clouds that would be right above the ground. It sat into those, and it looked like just the bottom of the light of the sun. They were shortening, making smaller, until there was just a deep orange dot on top of that see-through wispy cloud stuff. But it was hundreds. I could see hundreds of miles behind the sun to the horizon line. So what I'm saying is that was not the sun. And if what I saw above that line was not the sun, then I didn't see the sun the entire day or night. There was no sun. There was a sun simulator and a hologram, period. To see that in person, I want to tell you, that was really a freak out moment. Couldn't wait to get off the plane, tell my brother, tell my mother, not that they would be able to believe it either, but to see something like that firsthand, whatever's going on and everything that's going on is just so much bigger then I think people are going to be able to believe until they see things for themselves, because it was just incredible. After the initial thought, oh my gosh, I need to make a video and tell everybody, because the other videos that I saw, yeah, they're truthful. Those pilots that are showing the suns that are, setting in the clouds, yeah, so that's real. But then, I started thinking over the next day to day and a half, how am I going to really say that? How am I going to come out and make a video again, because it was tough enough to come out with the original video I did, and then tough enough to then talk about religion, God, and Jesus, and now I'm going to be saying there was no sun. The entire day, the entire night, there's a sun simulator and a holograph. Now that really, I know, just sounds just too crazy. It's going to be so hard for people.